And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Bridgeside Sports Live. We're here with the same old look, but a new sound. Got to give it up to the producer for this great music we got going on now. Just amping us up. We got a new addition to the crew. I'll get to him in a moment. We got first to my left, as always, Mike Bukowski.
What's up?
I guess he's just a fantasy guru from now on. That's it.
That's fine. I'll take it.
I got to the left. I think that's our jack of all trades over here, Donnie Borst. Sometimes
Evening, gents.
Good evening, gents. Sometimes he's behind producing. Sometimes he's hosting. And then I said we got a new addition. We got the mystery man. We got Pat DeVito, behind the producing, taking Donnie's seat for the moment. We got a little shuffling today, but everything else is going to go. We had a huge weekend in sports and entertainment in general. We had Game of Thrones. We had Mayweather McGregor. I think that was the biggest story. Oh, yeah. We also had a huge trade in basketball, and I kind of want to hit on that first, just because that's going to be our question of the night. So I want to get it out there, see if everyone please comment. Let me know what you guys think. Let us know what you think. Who got the better of this blockbuster trade between the Cavs and the Celtics? The trade, Kyrie Irving went to the Celtics, and the Cavs got a bunch of players in return, Isaiah Thomas, Crowder, and a first-round pick. So we're definitely going to get on that. I want to know what everyone thinks about that trade, because it's a huge trade. But before that...
It came out of nowhere,
It came out of nowhere. It came out of time, but we're going to get to that. But before that, I think the biggest story of this weekend was Saturday, the mega fight finally got here. McGregor versus Mayweather. I think the first question I'm going to ask Mike, what do you think? Do you think it lived up to the hype?
I mean, I was going in, I didn't know what to expect. I mean, we talked about it for a couple weeks. You have this polished boxer, one of the best of all time, versus somebody who's never fought a professional boxing fight. And to me, it lived up to the billing. I thought that, especially, I mean, the first few rounds, people are sitting there thinking, wait a second, is this possible that this guy might even knock him out, you know? And, I mean, in the end, it kind of, a lot what happened is what we expected, but those first few rounds had a lot of people kind of shocked.
I agree. Well, let me ask Johnny, because the first 3 rounds did have people shocked, but after seeing the end result, do you think that those first 3 rounds kind of were Mayweather's strategy?
It was exactly what a lot of the boxing analysts said Mayweather's strategy was. It was what Mayweather said his strategy was from him and his team. He was going to throw a few punches. He was going to study. He was going to start to go inside, see what McGregor had as far as reach. And then he just turned it around, 4th, 5th round, and then it was exactly it was almost scripted.
Yeah, I mean, after those 3 rounds, they didn't have a chance. I mean, McGregor didn't have a chance.
I would almost say that Mayweather carried him maybe a round or 2 longer than maybe what should have happened.
And I would completely agree with that assessment.
I mean, I think it was even more than him just trying to feel him out. I think it was planned in having him tire himself out. I mean, you talk about a guy who has never fought. How many punches would he have to fight in a 12-round fight to beat Mayweather? I mean, he let him tire himself out. He threw a ton of punches those first 2 rounds, and he hit on a decent amount.
He landed that one uppercut in the first round.
But, how was he going to do that for 12 straight rounds? And that was Mayweather's idea, and he couldn't. And
couldn't even do it for 6 rounds.
You saw him physically exhausted.
Couldn't even do it for 6 rounds. Weak. Yeah. So now, I know his stance was a little odd, I thought, McGregor to begin with, the way he was. I felt like he was open the whole entire match with the left, the right hand out for jabbing and the left hand back. He was kind of open the whole fight, but I heard that's how he usually fights in the UFC anyway. That was a very interesting boxing stance, I thought, that he developed. And then not only was he open, and then as he just got tired and exhausted, he became more and more open. He couldn't even keep his hands up at the end of the fight.
And he couldn't dodge anything towards the end. I mean, and part of it is because he has that open stance. But, a guy who's polished is able to go longer because he's going to evade some of those hits later in the round. He couldn't do it. And maybe part of it is the stance, but a huge part of it is just he was exhausted. He just couldn't throw too many punches anymore, and that was it. But you know what? The first few rounds, I was super excited. The whole everybody was watching the fight somewhere, and it was better than expected in my eyes.
Absolutely. I absolutely think it was better than expected. Like I said, I think that the first 3 rounds were kind of Mayweather letting McGregor do all those things. But you know what? It made it look like a better fight. It made you think that maybe he's got a chance. He's this great fighter. How many hammer punches did he throw to Mayweather?
Yeah.
How many times did he
Stop
hit
that.
him?
Ref. Well, actually,
what about when Mayweather pushed him in between rounds and the ref pushed Mayweather? That was great.
One of the one of the picks that we make on the new Pick'em with Donnie and Boo show that we have.
Yeah.
One of my picks was that
Here we go.
there was going to be a point deducted in the fight, and early on I thought this was going to be cake because he's punching Mayweather in the back of the neck a bunch of times, and he's getting a warning. I'm like, oh man, he's about to, if he does it one more time. But he held off, and he didn't get any points deducted, and he fought a cleaner fight than I thought he would.
He did. There was nothing. It was just Donnie was mentioning it, and actually Pat was mentioning before, kind of how Mayweather was backing into McGregor. So a lot of times McGregor, when he was hitting on the side of the head, it kind of could have been Mayweather's fault, or him kind of letting McGregor fall into that.
Yeah, maybe he was trying to trap him, but maybe he was just trying to take the reach out of play. He went inside, and McGregor couldn't do anything with it. He couldn't land anything solid at all. Maybe an uppercut, but he was able to block it, and the jabs it sort of subsided.
Yeah, Mayweather was inside the whole time.
Yeah.
The last, 6 to 7 rounds. After you saw that McGregor had a reach, you thought, oh, wow, maybe McGregor has a reach here, and then Mayweather just
took it away.
That's not happening. And that's well. I wanted to bring up. I know you guys had you guys did hit a few on the Pick'em League. Pick'em League, the Pick'em show. You had I think you had Demi Lovato, right?
Right, the non-boxing related pick. I won, yeah. Yeah, I put Demi Lovato over for the national anthem, and she did sing a very long, extended version of our beautiful national anthem, so I'm happy about that. But, listen, my big favorite pick was that McGregor was going to land under 20% of his punches. I think, Pat, what did you say the stat was for the percentage?
There was some interesting punch stats, take it or leave it in boxing punching stats, but when they came out with this punching system, Mayweather, the greatest of all time, accuracy and avoiding punches. McGregor landed 111 punches, 26%.
Wow.
Manny Pacquiao, 19% of punches, and only landed 81.
Against Mayweather.
And Boo mentioned that on our show.
Shane Mosley landed 92 punches in 12 rounds. Miguel Cotto landed 105. So there's 3 boxing Hall of Famers. You could argue to how much damage the punch actually did, but you had guys like Max Kellerman. I just have a couple guys that annoyed me that came out. He's an embarrassment. He's going to land 0 punches. Paulie Malignaggi's playing both sides. I'm a big fan of him, but he really disappointed me. This came out. Conor McGregor, I'll fight him with my hand behind my back. If he wants to disrespect boxing, I'd like to be the one teaching a lesson. So McGregor said, all right, come down, let's box. And I think we all know that he can't be the one him on his back.
Well, I think that brings up a good question about McGregor's future. Where is he going to go after this? Is he going to fight? Is his next fight going to be an MMA fight, or is it going to be a boxing fight?
Personally, I think MMA.
I believe he's going back to the MMA.
And there's the point where they said after, who is he going to fight? That Mayweather was at the right time, the right showman, it was just his Mayweather's legacy is established. So he's not this young, hungry boxer trying to just destroy McGregor to get to the next step. Right. He was looking to make money.
Mm-hmm. Above all, make money.
Of course, he made a lot of money, put on a great show, and beat McGregor. If he fights anyone else, McGregor, it's not about the show. It's not about the fight. That guy's just going to box McGregor, and I don't think McGregor's going to want to fight any of those guys.
Right. The one fight that they were talking about is this Malignaggi now, because there's obviously some beef between the two of them.
Manufactured.
But I'm not sure if it probably would it do better than the next MMA fight for McGregor if he were to fight an MMA fight. Would people rather watch him box Malignaggi?
Yeah, it depends.
Maybe in Brooklyn because he's a Brooklyn guy.
It's Saturday night.
I don't know about the rest of the world.
New York schoolyard.
That'd be a Saturday night HBO card at best. It's not going to be a pay-per-view. Well, let's not forget, though, that McGregor has 2 UFC belts, though. So he's either got to go back and he's got to defend one, or he's got to start vacating belts. So I do believe he'll go back to the UFC as it is his sport.
I think so. I don't think he's got much left in fighting, to be honest.
No,
because I don't think about it. He made approximately $100 million for this fight. I think in MMA his top was like $3 million.
I thought $4 million. He got
$4 million.
Fight, yeah.
How many more MMA? To go to your point about boxing, how many more MMA fights is he going to fight for $4 million when he just fought boxing for $100 million? I mean, obviously they're both a lot of money, but one's a lot more than the other.
So you're saying that he's not going to go back to MMA?
I think maybe he'll do 1 or 2, and that'll be it.
That'll be for his career boxing and MMA.
I think he'll be
he's
done.
Just going to retire.
Yeah, I think he'll go off.
Did you ever think about the other angle, though, that maybe he made that tremendous amount of money now, so he can go back to the UFC and not worry about money anymore?
It's true, but
if that's his type of personality, I don't know.
I agree. It depends on what if he gets lit up the next time he goes to the MMA ring. Is he going to want to go back in and just get pummeled? He might just be like, wow.
I don't think he cares. If you listen,
I agree. To anyone to go in the MMA ring, you got to have that personality where you're ready to get.
I mean, he said it in the ring. Nate Diaz, he's been in the ring, UFC, and Nate Diaz choked him out on live TV for all to see,
Yeah.
And he obviously got lit up by Mayweather for 2 rounds later in that fight. I mean, I don't think he minds that as much.
Well, to go to that, Pat's got a quote about Connor's coming out with a fashion line.
Oh, what you guys are talking about, what's he going to do after? Yeah. He came out and he pretty much said, I don't know, and he was drinking Irish whiskey in one of his new suits from his fashion line. And he was laughing about it and kind of upfront about it, which I thought was kind of cool. Some guys do it in like a weird, sneaky way.
I think his fight game is near the end, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, listen, his name is now household
I know.
for everybody. He was already big with MMA, but, I mean, now everybody knows his name. So, I mean, it's a great marketing idea. But the thing about, you see these boxers, you see these fighters, they retire and they come back, and it's because it's addicting. The money is addicting. Right. So, you know what? He can make all the money he wants with his marketing ideas. But the bottom line is it's not going to be as much as if he steps into a ring somewhere down the line, I think, especially now. So I don't think we've seen close to the end of him. I think we'll see him for years.
Well, I have a question for you. Do you think that Mayweather is actually going to retire like he said he did?
I think Mayweather's done.
Really?
Who else can Mayweather fight that is going to... Who else do you think Mayweather could fight that would bring the money, I want to say fame, attention that this fight had? Who else is out there right now?
Well, I mean,
thank you.
The thing is, like, I mean, we were even talking before about...
and 15 is a round number.
De La Hoya, who's, been in the boxing game forever, he called the fight a travesty and whatever, and he was urging Mayweather to fight one of the up-and-coming boxers. But the bottom line is the average person doesn't care about that fight nearly as much as the fight that we watched on Saturday.
Exactly.
So in terms of who's up and coming, I'm sure there's somebody that would put up a good fight against him, especially Mayweather's 40 years old now. But I don't think Mayweather would want to fight him and try to even... He's 50-0. There's something magical about that.
Like I said, one above Rocky Marciano. It was 49-0. If he fights an up-and-coming guy, Mayweather's slightly slower. He doesn't want to go into the ring where he might actually lose. He knew he was going to beat McGregor this whole time. He knew he was going to make a lot of money on it. We want to move on, but we want to let the last point. Katie Huska brings butchered that name. Hakusa. I'm sorry.
Come on, bro.
Butchered that. I'm sorry. Katie Huska. Do you think we'll ever see a Mayweather-McGregor fight in the UFC?
Oh.
That would be something.
She deserves to be called Hauschka after that question.
No, listen, I mean, what's fair is fair, right? Maybe he steps into his world for an MMA fight. I don't think Mayweather would last very long in that.
0% chance.
But here we go. I had the segue prepared. So we had that big fight on Saturday, but a couple of days before we had a nice brawl that went on, the little prelude, right? That was right. A little prelude to Mayweather-McGregor. The New York Yankees and the Detroit Tigers had an all-out brawl during one of their games last week. And on this show before, with Alan, who's not here this week, but he always talks about how he wished they had real fights. Like he always said that they were fake fights. Well, this one was a real fight.
Yeah.
And then suspensions were dealt out and everything. Well, Donnie, what do you think about... First we'll go, what do you think about the suspensions? Do you think they were fair? Do you think they were overdone? Or...
Yeah, I mean, Miguel Cabreras was... compared to several other fights in the league. I think, was it Odor got 8? He wound up getting 8. Batista was on the ground when he got punched. Romine was there. He was standing up. He could defend himself, but he still threw a swing at him, so 7's fair. Sanchez should have gotten more. Sanchez should have gotten at least equal to what Cabrera got. So I don't agree with that one. And the rest of them were all minor.
Well, but I think the thinking behind Cabrera getting 7 and Sanchez getting 4 is none of this happens if not for Cabrera. He's the one who started this entire thing. Now, who caused more pain during the fight? Obviously not Cabrera. I don't even know what he was doing. The guy's like, it was awful. How much does Cabrera weigh? He's like 2. He's a monster. He's huge, and he didn't cause any damage in this fight. And Sanchez obviously got in there with some sucker punches when you watch the video. So he caused more damage, but again, this doesn't happen if not for Cabrera.
Exactly. I think Sanchez's was worse because there was sucker punch. He was punching a guy that was being held down. But I think it comes down to what Mike said. None of that happens if Cabrera doesn't start it. So I think baseball always gives it to the instigator. Like, this wouldn't have happened. I was actually a little surprised that Romine got 2 games, to be honest with you. Cabrera started it, pushed him, attacked him. What was Romine supposed to do? Lay down and let Cabrera beat him up? I don't understand.
Run. The weirdest thing ever.
My favorite thing is Romine.
So Romine got 2 games for what? For defending himself. Yeah. I thought that was a little. I thought he should have got 1 or nothing, to be honest with you.
Right.
But I guess you have to suspend the guy for taking part in a fight. But he got attacked. He defended himself.
I mean, he was even mad that he got thrown out of the game, Romine.
Okay, I don't know about that. He's thrown out of the game.
He was, but I mean, you have to suspend him. He was one of the 2 first participants in it. So
yeah, he was a participant, but he got attacked. Do you expect him to do nothing?
And he tried to score a takedown, which was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? Miguel Cabrera, 240 pounds, Pat put up here. 6'4". I mean, I'm going to go for his legs, too, probably. I'm sure he was caught off guard. I mean, they were having a discussion, but Cabrera then, he starts swinging. He went low on him. I mean, he didn't really do that good of a job. It wasn't that great of a fight, to be honest.
And just to combat what you said about Cabrera being the instigator, what was said between them two? We don't know, and everybody was pretty much mum about it. Yeah.
So I think
Roman
this
could have
is
said some pretty bad stuff.
This goes back to the last series where the guy Matuk, he got hit like twice in a game, and Cabrera was probably more upset than anybody else on the team, and I think he applauded whoever. I think it was also Fulmer who hit. Was it Ellsbury?
I think it was.
Ellsbury. So there was obviously some things from that last series. Then Cabrera gets thrown at.
Well, Fulmer hit Sanchez first, right?
He did.
Fulmer couldn't get Sanchez out. I mean, Fulmer, I think, instigated the whole thing. He could not get Sanchez out, so just hit him.
It's a weak excuse to hit somebody as a pitcher. That's
so,
I think that's so embarrassing, too. You can't get. It's exactly what happened with the Bryce Harper thing. Remember the
other
brawl
with the San Francisco Giants.
He got owned by that guy.
Exactly.
And
so just hit him.
And so he hits him. I mean, what is that? You should want to strike that guy out.
And especially an intentional walk is just pointing. So just do an intentional walk. You don't even have to throw it anymore. You just
you want to hit
take
him,
the first base. Yeah. Exactly. It's not about not wanting to get it. You want to show him up, don't do this to me again, or whatever it may be.
But I mean, it looked like Cabrera was trying to have a little bit of a conversation with Romine, and Romine did not want to hear it. I gained some respect for Romine. Yeah. I mean, again, his takedown wasn't exactly a 10 out of 10. But, I mean, at least he didn't want to hear Cabrera. This is a name-brand guy, one of the best players of all time. He's trying to have a conversation with him, what's going on. And Romine, you could see in his face, he didn't want to talk to him.
I gotta say, one of my favorite guys in the fight was, he didn't throw any punches. Did you see David Robertson running in from the bullpen? You saw the other guys.
That's one of Pat's favorite boys.
You saw one of the guys, the other guys were jogging or running, and Robinson was 30 yards ahead of them with a full-out sprint, like he was running down on Monday Night Raw, his music just hit. He was coming for the save.
That was pretty sick. Pat, what did you have to say over there?
I was just going to say what Phil was saying before about, Romine, so if you get attacked, you're automatically suspended no matter what happens. So you're just playing baseball, talking. He shoves him, and it wasn't a get out of my face shove. It was let's fight right now shove, and starts throwing weird Tyrannosaurus Rex combos at him, and he's suspended for it when he really didn't do anything.
Well, he did try to take him down.
No, he should have tried harder. I think most people would.
I have to agree with you because Batista in that Odor fight got a game. And he was sliding into second and got punched. He got a game in that instigated fight.
So Romine, so you're saying Romine should have just got pushed, taken down, and just laid there like this?
No, but
Cabrera
to me,
beat
that's
him up.
the only way that you can say a 0-game suspension. If you try to take somebody down, even if you're being attacked, I mean, it's listen, as a teacher in school, right? Even if you don't instigate, I'm going to go to the school right here, right? Even if you don't instigate a fight, if you somehow take part in it, you're going to get suspended, right? And that's what happened here. He did try to take him down. Not saying that he wasn't right in doing so, but...
And we also talked about it, though. Romine did have a heated discussion. It looked like things were going south with that. It's not like he did nothing.
Yeah. So if Romine was your child, would you tell him to not stand up for himself? Would you tell him to just get beat up?
First of all, I put him in karate class or something because he doesn't know what he's doing. But... no, he did the right thing, and a 2-game suspension to me, I think the suspensions were pretty good all in all.
I did. If anything, I could have seen Sanchez more, but I do understand the 4 games because of in the comparison to Cabrera.
So Sanchez is getting a bad reputation now too,
because he looked bad. He was just guys were down. He was just punching guys that were laying on the floor.
And we have to add to it the aftermath with Victor Martinez and then Castellanos.
Well, before I do want to. Do you think Betances should have got anything?
No, yeah, no, not a suspension. Thrown out of the game.
Agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So let's move on to what you said about the Victor Martinez. I want you to bring that up.
So Victor Martinez at the end of the brawl makes nice with Gary Sanchez. It's sort of just talking to him. You see smiles on faces.
Touching his arm.
Well, that'll do. And then they go into the dugout, and Castellanos, who was just destroyed, you saw his face. He was beat up. Yeah. Sanchez hit him on the floor, and I think he was hit by somebody else also in the scrum. And he was none too happy with Victor Martinez. They were going at it. They caught it on the Yes cameras.
Yeah.
And then Verlander comes in out of nowhere, and he gets in the middle of it. And they were not happy with Victor Martinez. I tried to look up some quotes after the game about it. Everybody was mum about that part, even Awesomeness. Nobody
I'm sure they
wanted
to keep that in-house. Kind of reminds me of in the 90s. You remember there was the brawl between the Mariners and the Yankees, and A-Rod and Jeter just went onto the side, and A-Rod and Jeter just hung out when they used to be friends. Well, the whole brawls happened. They were just talking.
But Jeter didn't get any flack for that.
Because A-Rod didn't go around sucker punching people. Yeah. Let's give that. There's one thing. Sanchez sucker punched someone, and then they did it. Both A-Rod and Jeter just didn't do anything in the fight.
Again, but we don't know if, at that time, it could have been very similar to that in that Victor Martinez might not have known that all that was going on, that he came in. Again, it was a sucker punch. It wasn't very clear that even Sanchez was involved much at all until we watched the replay. That being said, they have every right, in my eyes, to go and talk to Victor Martinez and tell him that they're not happy about it.
I completely agree with you. So there was with the fights, there's some injuries. There's another segue I got going on. Look at this. So one of those fights, Castellanos was injured. This could lead us to, there was a lot of injuries in football.
Right.
All right. So we're going to get into our little, Dr. Sports Science's injury report. I'm going to get into that. Breaking news, bringing it to you. Mm-hmm. Well, this weekend, we talked about NFL preseason last week. And we talked about how the risk of injuries. And this weekend, there was a rash of big injuries. I want to say about four ones we're going to touch on. I don't want to baseball. I'm not going to talk about Michael Conforto's injury, but I want to talk about how weird that injury was. People don't usually dislocate their shoulder swinging a bat. So I just want to throw that out there, guys. That doesn't usually happen. That was one of the... Unless it's 84 bats or Michael Conforto has the shoulder of a 94-year-old. I don't understand. It just dislocated. But anyway, we're going to stick with football. So we had four big injuries. I want to start with hometown New York Giants, Odell Beckham. He was hurt actually while we were on the air last week, and he had an ankle sprain. So it looked like it could have been worse at the knee, maybe kind of like a torn ACL, but he missed all those. Everything was clean there. He does have an ankle sprain. Now, you guys asked me a little bit last time about the difference between an ankle sprain and a high ankle sprain. So the high ankle sprain is the dreaded high ankle sprain you hear. It's gonna keep you out more. An ankle sprain is when everyone's had it. You roll your ankle, and you stretch out the ligaments on the outside of your ankle. That happens in a high ankle sprain as well, but the high ankle sprain, your ankle also twists a little bit, so right at the front of the ankle where all your tibia and your fibula, which are your lower leg bones, meet the ankle joint, there's a little separation between the ligaments and the membrane that hold those bones together. So that separation causes the increase in timetable for your return. So the high ankle sprain keeps you out a lot longer than a regular ankle sprain. Okay. The Giants are kind of being mum about which ankle sprain it is. And what I do want to say is that the Giants-Jet games, they kept him off his feet in Beckham. They didn't even want him on the sidelines because they just wanted him laying down getting treatment. So that does worry me a little bit. So Beckham does have an ankle sprain. Right now, maybe a high ankle sprain. They're a little, they haven't said. They're just saying ankle sprain. And that could linger a little bit. And ankle sprains are tough. They do linger. Curry had ankle sprains years ago that almost, tanked his career. It didn't. But they heal slower than like just a simple fracture. But anyway, I want to get to his fantasy value with it. So what do you guys think? I've seen some mocks where Mike Evans has jumped Odell Beckham because of this. That's the furthest I would drop Beckham down. I'd definitely drop him past Julio Jones now. I would say argue maybe Evans. What do you guys think? Do you think A.J. Green jumps ahead of Beckham with the uncertainty of Beckham now?
Well, look, I don't even think he's going to miss any games, but I do think he's going to be very limited. And the most annoying thing as a Giants fan is you're going to be watching the first 1, 2, 3, 4 games of the season. They're going to be talking about it constantly, right? Oh, is he playing? What percent is he playing? I can't see him missing that game. I know they even said he's in question for playing that first game. I think they'll have him out there. Maybe he'll be on a snap count. Yeah. He might be limited. I don't expect him to have monster numbers the first week or so. But I guess I wouldn't drop him past those. I would put Julio and Brown above him for sure now. But I think in terms of the potential, I don't think I would drop him past that.
So that's even worse for a fantasy owner when they play on the snap count. You
Well, 'cause
almost
then,
rather have them be out for the game. And I agree with you. I don't think there's a way. I don't think he's going to be 100% for that first game. I think he's going to want to be out there Sunday night, Cowboys, and they're going to put him out there. But I don't think he's going to be 100% of a game, which could be worse. And how long does that take now?
I think just a couple weeks, and then he'll get back to speed, and I think he'll still
But a couple weeks is big in fantasy football. That's why you see definitely now Jones is ahead of him. I had him over Jones. Now I'm putting Jones over Beckham.
What do you think? That's like a 1-4 maybe, like first round 4th pick.
He could go to the 5th pick now.
I would have put him at 1-7 anyway.
Really?
I think Jones is a better draft pick. I like Mike Evans more.
Oh, so you had
He's
Evans over
explosive.
Beckham anyway?
Oh yeah.
Beckham
I'm
isn't
surprised.
explosive?
Yeah, that's a.
No, you're right.
Are you kidding me?
I think he's in a crowded field now with the other guys that they have on the
but
the team.
No one can be crowded with Beckham because Beckham just is hands above all those guys.
Of course, yeah. He is
Heads
the
above those guys.
first number called. I get that. But I don't think it changes it.
Well, it doesn't change it for you because you have Evans above him already.
No, but what I was going to get is that if I would have thought he was the better pick, I wouldn't have changed his draft value anyway. That's what I was getting to.
I got you.
So wherever he was, I would keep him at. Even guys that have 1 or 2 game suspensions to begin the year, typically that doesn't change them that much.
True.
Especially if they're that dynamic of a player, and he's a top 4 or 5 player in the league anyway. So
That's true. But I would have took Jones ahead of him. Now I don't. Now I'm sorry. I would have took Beckham over Jones. Now I take Jones over Beckham. And you can make an argument for Evans. I still take him over Evans. I agree, but there could be an argument.
Yeah.
So the knee injuries that he avoided that we were talking about, 2 guys did not avoid them. Julian Edelman and Cameron Meredith both had the same injury. They both tore their ACL. Now, if you watch sports, I really don't have to explain too much to you about torn ACL. You know they're done for the year. The ACL just is very integral in the knee and the stability of the knee during cutting, pivoting, lateral movements, and all explosive. So that's why torn ACL is always season ending. Once you get the surgery, it's a long road back. Usually 9 months is that when you're going to get back into the sport. So you lost Edelman, now you lost Meredith. Meredith is supposedly a little even worse because it was. And usually when you tear your ACL, you tear your meniscus, you get the bone bruise that Harper got that we talked about, that he avoided the ACL, you usually get it back. So usually, almost all the time, you have other injuries with the ACL.
I mean, Pat, didn't you even tear your ACL?
Oh, that's right.
I did. I was going to ask Phil, if he tore it this early, is there a chance he's back for the playoffs? Because Donovan McNabb and some of the guys tore it. They were playing within 5-6 months. They could do some crazy stuff nowadays.
You can't, like,
Peterson
was back. Peterson was back. I think Peterson came back, I want to say, like 7 months because he hurt he tore his ACL the last game of the season, was back the first game of the season. Look, these guys, they're better athletes, but the research out there says any time before 9, each month that you wait to rehab your knee up until 9 months, the percentage that you decrease to re-injure your knee goes down 58% each month. So, and that 9 months. So if you come back, 7 months, if you return to sport after 7 months after torn ACL, you're that much more likely to tear your ACL again as opposed if you wait till 9 months. So each month that you wait till 9 months, you decrease your chance 58% to re-injure your ACL. So with that being said, it's possible, but I would say unlikely. If I was running the team, I'd have these guys in the IR.
Right.
And it goes with, and now fantasy. We talk about fantasy, always with fantasy boards. Now you got 2 guys out for the year. Edelman on the Patriots. The Patriots have enough guys to pick up the slack.
Sure.
Donnie, who do you think benefits the most from
Amendola?
Yeah. I was going to say Cooks. Even Cooks. I'm high on Cooks. I'm even higher on Cooks now.
I think Cooks was going to be the guy anyway.
Yeah, he was.
And he was going to, of course, with Gronk right next to him,
Yeah.
if he's playing, if he's healthy the whole year, no back issues, then I'd go Amendola because he's the one that would need to benefit the most.
See, you're gonna go Cooks. You're gonna go Amendola. I'm gonna say Gronk. I think,
there we go. Good.
I think this is the year that Gronk. I mean, obviously,
The year that Gronk.
Listen,
We're all pros.
You guys are going to know who Gronk
I
is.
said that, I knew you were going to say that. But this is the year that he stays healthy and just it breaks
healthy.
every record that you've ever seen for a tight end. I mean, I think that, listen, Amendola just is not nearly as good as Edelman is what it comes down to. Now,
Correct. Yeah,
Edelman
agreed.
got hurt a couple of years ago. Amendola had a couple really nice games, and then he faded because Edelman was out, I think, like the last 7 games 2 years ago. So, I mean, his numbers are definitely going to go up because they're going to try to do some of the same things. Cooks is always going to have a great year, but I think you're going to see so many more targets for Gronk now.
I agree with that. I'm going to give you 2 guys that might get some targets too. You got Chris Hogan
Right.
who stepped in a couple of big games, and Rex Burkhead, running back. You're going to get a lot of those short passes. He's that runner. He could fill that Danny Woodhead position that obviously Danny wasn't on the team anymore.
Right.
Coming out of the backfield, getting those red zone targets that Edelman got just from the bubble screens or anything like that. I think those two guys can really benefit a lot too.
And they also picked up a couple other guys, like Dwayne Allen is their second tight end now. He could
actually,
benefit
they have a
also.
lot of guys.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yes, they do. Crowded field.
Why wouldn't you want to go sign with the Patriots when you're a free agent? I mean,
We don't know.
you kidding me?
And the last thing,
I'll go over there and I'll catch like 45 balls for like
Pat with his 20
206
You'll
yards.
have
or something.
one game with like 9 catches, maybe 107, and a touchdown. But
And he'll
that'll-
get, he'll get picked up.
Yeah.
He'll get picked up in all fantasy sports,
And you'll
then
do
he'll
nothing for the rest of
Who
it.
was their running back? Jonas Gray. Remember Jonas
Yeah,
Gray?
200
Went for 200
game,
yards
yeah.
and 4 touchdowns. Was 5 minutes late to practice. Never played again for Bill Belichick.
And he deserved it.
The last injury I want to get to was Spencer Ware. I think that might actually have the biggest hole and opening for a fantasy player. I'll get to the injury real quick. So Spencer Ware tore his PCL and his LCL. So all of
How many CLs are
There are 4 CLs in the knee. There's your MCL, your PCL, your ACL, and your LCL.
This is ridiculous.
So the MCL and ACL are often injured together. I was saying the MCL, ACL, and meniscus. The PCL can be injured isolated as well as the LCL. They all can be isolated injured, but posterior cruciate ligament, anterior cruciate ligament, medial cruciate ligament, and lateral. So Spencer Ware, the PCL is not nearly as significant to the knee stability during sports as the ACL is. So Spencer Ware is not going to get surgery. He did tear his LCL too. So they gave the timetable between 2 to 8 weeks for Spencer Ware. So that's a massive timetable. For the reasons being is that since there's no surgery, it's really just all tissue. It's his tissue. How long is it going to take to heal? I would put him closer towards the 8 week because he has both ligaments injured. So now you're talking about let's say close to half the fantasy football season.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer Ware is probably going to be out because of this injury, even though it doesn't require surgery. I think he's going to be out that, and I think he has a big hole for Kareem Hunt, and I think he's skyrocketing up the draft boards, and I think he should because Spencer Ware had a very good year last year jumping in for Jamal Charles. Now Jamal Charles is hurt. Now you got Hunt, who they were high on Hunt anyway. Now he's jumping in. So where would you think about putting Hunt in the draft board now?
Well, if he's going to be the clear-cut starter, you'd have to take him running backs in 15 rounds typically? I know Chris was saying
15 rounds, yeah.
I mean, maybe somewhere in the 8th. 8th, 9th, when do starting running backs go off the board completely?
Yeah.
He'd still be on the back end, but you got to take him somewhere if he's going to be the starter. And then you'd still have to take Spencer Ware somewhere in the draft. That'll be a little later. Again, if depending on what the outlook is when you do your draft, you said closer to 10 weeks. That doesn't help if you're getting to the fantasy playoffs. On a non-fantasy angle, though, Spencer Ware's a guy that you'd actually feel for, really had to fight for his position.
Yeah.
And, to get one of those guys that really wasn't I'm definitely going to be the starter kind of player. He actually, he went out there and he played very well and he got his spot, and that just could be it. Like running backs, the average career, and that could just destroy him. Yeah.
I didn't know you had such a heart for Spencer Ware. That's beautiful.
Just a long shot story,
So Donnie, you have it for Spencer Ware. Chris has it for Sammy Watkins. Now Mike and I have to get a guy
nowhere near for
personally
Spencer Ware what Chris is for Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, that's like a creepy level. His feelings for Sammy
He
Watkins.
bought Sammy Watkins a Christmas present that he'll never open.
He comes to his house for Thanksgiving dinner, but
No, he wants him to, though.
You got to think for guys with dreadlocks. He was a big Last Things Millage guy back in the day.
Yeah, I don't know. Didn't Chris actually have dreadlocks for? Oh, no, he had cornrows or
They
something.
were not dreadlocks. They were cornrows.
They were cornrows.
The way he pronounced
we
it,
need a
cornrows.
picture of that.
That's right. They weren't
ASAP.
cornrows. They were
ASAP
cornrows.
as possible. We need a.
What's your
picture of that.
favorite CL? The
CL, the ACL. The ACL gets all the ACL gets all the love.
Okay.
It's always out there. I think Hunt's going to steal a job from Ware. I don't think Ware is going to come
That's
back.
my
and get that
point,
new-
then, yeah.
And to answer Scott Matthew, there's no such thing as a medium ankle sprain. Thank you for being curious. It's just high and regular. Well, that wraps it up for the injury report. The injury report. I hope you guys got something out of that. Maybe we learned a little bit, But I don't have a segue for this one. I'm sorry, but we're just gonna. I'm just gonna dive right into probably the biggest thing. So McGregor Mayweather's biggest thing on Saturday. The biggest thing on Sunday was not a sport.
Weekend, yeah.
Was Game of
great
Thrones
weekend.
season finale. I personally thought it was an epic season finale. I thought it was great.
Yep.
I thought it was probably even better than last week's episode. But I'm gonna bring it to Mike. What was the most important thing we got out of that episode?
the most important thing is that
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, guys! If you haven't seen it yet, don't stop watching this
get a
show.
life
Finish
if you
watching
haven't
this
seen it.
show,
They sort of
and
were
then
the
watch
topics,
Game of
though.
Thrones.
It's a big spoiler alert.
That's true.
the most important. Well, I mean, where do you begin? There was so many big things here. So we found out that. Listen, the incest is full on. Okay, that happened. That didn't, what do you mean? It's the show. So, I mean, they didn't wait long. I thought it might carry into next season before something like that went down between Jon Snow and Daenerys, but they got that out of the way before they could find out, because then I guess it would have got even weirder. But then we also found out that they are going to find out.
Yeah, Bran's gonna finally tell everyone.
Which, that scene bothered me. That
Blocking.
that jerk showed up, right? Who I have no use for anymore.
Sam or Bran?
The only good thing he ever did in his life was he saved what's his name, Jorah Mormont. No, Sam.
Sam.
Yeah.
You don't like Sam?
Oh, I can't stand him.
You don't can't stand really?
The first good thing he
useless.
Oh my god, I like Sam.
did. No, I can't stand him, man.
Oh my god.
Does anyone like Sam out
First of
there?
all,
Wait, am I the only one that likes Sam Tarley out here?
Facebook, please come back. with
Help me
no's.
out here.
Yeah.
Paul, maybe.
Mike, why was Tyrion? You talking about the incest? Did Tyrion think he had a shot? What was he doing outside the
That's
door
what
out
I
there?
thought,
What was
yeah.
he so surprised about?
So then I'm gonna
He's
get
Jon Snow.
So let me bring to that because I think that was very interesting. What did you guys make of the look Tyrion gave when he saw Jon and Dany? You know, he didn't see them, but he saw Jon go into the room.
They would've
He
creeped
wished he saw them.
What do you think of that look that he gave?
So I think it doesn't have anything to do with that actually happening. I think that something went down with his meeting with Cersei.
I agree.
Something's going on. I don't know. Remember, he's all about the. He is still a Lannister, and it's hard to believe that he's completely detached himself. Is that a word? Detached? Yeah.
Detached is just a word, I'm pretty sure.
It's
Cornrows.
detached,
Cornrows.
You're the teacher here.
So he detached himself. It's hard to believe that he still is a Lannister, and that means something. And I think that maybe there might be some kind of backdoor deal that went down.
But I don't
in
think
that
he's
room.
going to turn on Daenerys for Cersei. That doesn't make any sense. Cersei's tried to kill him multiple
It
times.
could be him trying to make up for all the things they mentioned in that scene, all the terrible things that he's had impact on for the Lannister family,
Yeah.
right? All the people that have died that really not on purpose, but have had it's been his fault in some way. He might be trying to make good on his family name with some kind of. I know it's hard to believe because we've grown to like this guy a lot,
Yeah.
but maybe.
I actually just thought of this right this very second. So I was thinking, though, that Jon Snow over the last 2 episodes has actually been giving Daenerys advisory.
Yeah.
And maybe he thinks that he's just getting even closer and that he's going to have a diminished role.
And
maybe that's
he's
why.
not going to be handed the
That's
queen
good.
anymore.
That's not bad. All right, I'm going to switch to that. That was good. No, I don't.
But what do you think of the theory that Tyrion knows who Jon really is?
How?
It's a
I'm
long
just asking.
shot, yeah.
I'm
very
just asking
long
because
shot.
I've read it out there because Tyrion is supposed to be one of the most clever men in all of Westeros. Do you think there's a possibility that he might know Jon is really Aegon Targaryen?
Unless Sam texted him when he found it out. Or something. I mean,
Well, the
how
way
would he
Ravens
know?
fly this season.
Bran said he was the only person that
now
knows
Paul
other than
chimes
him.
in.
I was
And
gonna-
Bran sees everything.
That's true.
I was going to say, Phil, I know who does know, and who's the most useless character in the whole show is Bran. So he's God. He's Dr. Manhattan from The Watchmen. He's Jesus. He knows everything. His whole family's getting slaughtered, raped, beheaded, and he's just standing there doing nothing the whole time. And so he knows, but he's not helping.
Tell us how you really
no
feel
one can
about Bran.
explain it.
Because he's
Wait,
not like
didn't
a
he become
human
the third?
anymore.
He just became the third rim. He's not Bran anymore.
Yeah.
But he finally stepped up. He came in. He gave us the big reveal of Jon Snow being actually Aegon Targaryen. I think that's going to have massive ripple effects because does Dany feel threatened now because Jon is the true heir to the throne, or is she just smitten and just in love?
I
with
mean, that's
Mr. Jon Snow.
It's hard to predict how that's going to go when they find that out. I can't even wrap my head around how that's going to play out because you can't see them at this point.
Can they turn off their feelings now that they know they're aunt and nephew?
I would hope so.
I got a question for the
The
producer.
rest of the world does. I mean,
Well, we talked about Bran, and he finally came through, and he came through.
What
in
did he
one
come
of the-
through and
Wait. He came through in one of the most satisfying scenes of this season finale, when Littlefinger finally got what was coming for him, and Bran did come through. Bran
He
finally
did.
revealed something.
Nobody
How do you
would've
think
known that,
Sansa and Arya knew all that stuff? Brand finally was like, "Hey guys, I got something to tell you." Finally,
It took a little long, but yeah, I've been there for 10 days. I think he was just sitting there. We don't know how long that was.
Oh man, what am I doing at this tree? I should go talk to Sansa.
Useless without legs.
So I'm gonna leave this to Mike because we gotta give Mike credit for his prediction. He said Littlefinger was gonna go last week, that he's gonna go this week. So how did you feel about the scene? How'd you feel that your prediction came through?
Oh, it felt good. I wish I picked it on the show the other day, and I could have got something right. But I just felt like he had kind of run his course, and he had been winning too many scenes lately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was like winning every scene. And then I got the feeling that this was just going to go. And somebody pretty big had to die, and I just felt like he had kind of run his course. So it was great, and you got to see him cry. You saw him completely out of the usual character that you see him in.
Because it finally got turned on him.
Yep.
And he was a snake.
They flipped the script.
They flipped the script. And Arya how great was Arya's just simple kill of him?
I talked to you about this earlier. I thought it was the greatest part of the episode.
Just
outside of the very end, which was just amazing visually. Yeah. That Baelish scene was unreal. It was great.
Pat, you got some comments from the readers about the Game of Thrones?
I got some funny comments from some fans. We got Eric Scotto. I think he was upset we weren't giving Sam enough props. Sam told everyone about the Dragonglass Mines, brah.
Well, so we got some. So we have some Sam Tarley love. Thank you. And Katie, even though I butchered her name, she still came to my defense. That I heart Sam Tarley.
Eric's a big student of the Game of Thrones world, so he's upset we overlooked that. And then we got a more simple comment from Pete DeVito. Bran sucks. That's the whole comment.
I love that comment.
That's the whole comment.
Okay. Well, he really feels that way about
I
Brent.
agree. You heard me. I agree.
I mean, it's just like Sam is just like the only guy that's like reading these books and just finding. He's just I mean,
don't you think that's important? He's the only one
Not
doing
at that
it.
point in time.
I'm just saying, like, why is he just so conveniently always finding these bombs? Just bombs are being dropped right into his lap constantly in the show.
Someone has to do it. No one else reads. But one of my favorite parts of the show was the Hound confronting the Mountain. I talked about this, and that little tease for it, I can't wait for those two to go at it. Good. The Hound was great. Just going up. Hound's big because the Mountain's a big man, and the Hound was pretty much face to face with him. Maybe not as strong, but just saying that you're uglier than me now.
It was a funny part, but I'm just surprised that there were just two other people not looking at each other like, who are these assholes? It was important business here.
But I did like at the beginning they had a lot of reunions between Podrick and Tyrion. Right. You had Brienne and the Hound, which was a great little conversation. Yeah. I thought that was excellent. You know what? I just thought I want to talk about all those reunions, but how could we not talk about probably as big as Jon Snow being Aegon Targaryen is? What about the last 5 minutes of the episode? We haven't talked about this at all. The wall is coming down. The wall came down. Not coming, it's down. A
large piece anyway. Yeah.
It's down, and now the White Walkers, and we said this, I believe both of us, both Mike and myself said that we thought that that's how the episode was going to end. That last shot, and I know Paul said it as well. And so we found out we didn't really find out what the ice dragon shoots out. It was blue, but we don't know what it was.
You knew it was going to end like that during the scene or before the show?
Before the show, so we saw last week.
I thought you meant during the scene.
Oh, no. He said, so maybe it's just like blue energy at the wall.
I think it was dry ice, actually.
Yeah, there we go, dry ice, and he destroyed the wall. So the thing that's really on my mind, we all agree that Tormund is alive, correct?
I hope so, man. He's one of my favorite characters.
If he goes out like that...
they didn't give him a proper ending. If that's what
he
they
can't
do.
go out like that.
They didn't show him dying.
No, they didn't show him dying, so he's still there. That's the rule.
We right.
But how exactly could you survive that?
Well, no,
Can somebody tell me that?
He could be on the piece of the wall that didn't get collapsed.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. He's watching it all collapse.
Right.
That's all. That's what I think. Well, so what do you think? How quickly into next season do you think we get a White Walker Winterfell battle?
Yeah, I think first episode.
Get right into it.
You're gonna have to get someone into it. I mean, so. They're going to elapse some little bit of time, and they're already through the wall.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how they're going to set it up. It'll be interesting. They'll be in the north first, obviously, and then see what happens there. There'll be some side story with the people in the south, but I don't know. They kind of have to jump right into it, right?
That's true. And Jaime finally turning on Cersei, turning his back on Cersei.
At least for now.
That was long awaited.
Story, though,
long awaited. We had so many things that happened. Long awaited. And now I think it's really pulling to all our predictions that Jaime will be the one to finally kill Cersei. And we all agree Cersei's faking her pregnancy?
I'm not so sure. I don't know.
All right.
I'm not sure.
I think it's convenient. I think she conveniently touches her stomach when when it, Tyrion's yelling at her, and then all of a sudden she touches her stomach, and then it changes. You know what I mean? I think she's using that pregnancy way too much to her advantage. That it's real. I think it's fake. That's why. But I believe we have a question for the producer about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I got a question for the producer. He's a big Jon Snow fan. He was him like Halloween like 4 years in a row. He has this stuffed doll. He sleeps with the Jon Snow doll. So there's been a lot of photoshopped naked bodies in the show. We know Cersei in the Walk of Shame. We know Daenerys saw the couple of first seasons. Now it's fake. We know after she burnt down the hut. Paul, was Jon Snow's body photoshopped in any way? Do you believe that he is that perfect as you imagine?
I don't know if the viewers can hear me on here. Maybe you could translate.
They can hear you.
He signs a clause. He signed a clause in his contract, Kit Harington did, that he will have to do nudity, and he's down with it.
So that was him.
That was him. In the beginning of last season, when he was lying there naked and dead, they have a behind the scenes pic, and it's got the thing like the skin color.
Covering the good stuff.
Crotchal area.
How many minutes into that episode was he naked? Because I know you know. Because I know you watch it.
No,
Come on.
What is that from Knocked Up? DrSkin.com? What is that called?
No, he.
Skin,
so that's interesting. So Kit Harington was, and you could tell that Amelia Clarke didn't want any more nudity. You said it was fake. That scene was, their love scene was very well choreographed. That you saw nothing of Amelia Clarke.
She was real in the beginning with Drogo, but then when she burned down the hut,
when she became more famous,
the two were out.
Well, she's been out there. I've seen a lot of interviews where she is a big proponent of more male nudity on the show because she thinks it's a little slanted a little bit too much towards only female nudity.
Well, they don't have a 50% way. Us, it's like all the way or not all the way. They can kind of go a halfway type of thing with the girl. So it's not fair to say that.
They showed Jon's butt. That's what they did.
Yeah.
But now he's Aegon. They showed Aegon's butt. I don't know. Jon Snow, Aegon Targaryen, they're all one and the same now.
He's Jon Snow.
I think it was a great episode.
He'll always be Jon Snow.
He'll always be Jon Snow. I agree. I think it was a great episode. I think it was an amazing episode, and it just makes us wait even longer for next season.
Well, that's the problem now. Is that
how long is it going to be?
They're talking about they don't even have a plan for when they're going to start shooting. I
No,
think.
Animal was telling me that they are shooting the 7th.
Shout out to Animal.
Shout out, peace, Pete. That they are.
I don't know what you said there, but okay.
That they are shooting the last season, but that it could still be a year to 18 months before we get there.
No, that's brutal.
If the Game of Thrones creators are watching this, we plead to you.
They're watching. Max Kellerman was watching before. He's been tweeting at me.
We plead to you to continue to make this as quick as possible. We'd like it to get back and not pull a Sopranos where we have to wait like 2.5 years.
Curb Your Enthusiasm. I think it's been off the air for like 17 years.
And now it's back. That was a great promo. But anyway, we're gonna get off Game of Thrones. That was a great episode, and now we have to wait. So maybe we'll keep talking about theories every now and then when we hear news. But Game of Thrones probably put to bed for a little while on Bridgeside Sports Live. Anyway, so a little moment of silence for it, and then we'll move on. We got a question of the night. Big question of the night, because I think it was a big blockbuster trade in NBA. Who got the better of the trade between the Cavs and the Celtics? So I'm gonna talk about the trade real quick. The Cavs gave up Kyrie Irving, obviously, and the Celtics gave back Isaiah Thomas, Jamison Crowder, Anton Zizic, and the Brooklyn Nets first-round unprotected pick.
Right.
So I have my thoughts on the trade, but I want to hear what you guys think. Donnie, what do you think about that trade?
I think overall that, I mean, the unprotected pick is big, but the Celtics had another one anyway. I think that the trade, and then especially after the Hayward signing, the Celtics are better on paper, in my opinion, now. So the trade ultimately works out for them. I believe that the Cavs got the better of the trade overall, but if the Celtics are better now, I think that more than does it for me. So I actually think it came out even.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike?
I mean, listen, the Celtics, we've been talking a lot about the Celtics this offseason, and the one thing we always say is they have all these picks, and the bottom line is these picks are really nice, but I was waiting for them to do something with it. You know what I mean? And they did. They went out and they got one of the best players in the league. The Cavs, though, is really what I want to focus on. The Cavs, in my eyes, won this deal. And I do think it was a good trade for both because, again, Celtics had all these picks. They had a number one pick. That is a very sexy thing to have when it's the Brooklyn Nets, first-round unprotected pick. But when you talk about the Cavs, this guy comes out and says he wants to be traded. Right off the bat, you're in your head saying, "Oh, we're not going to be able to get what he's worth." And what did they get? They got Isaiah Thomas, one of the guys they were talking about for MVP a lot of the time.
He led the league in scoring last year.
Right? You get the unprotected pick, and you get a nice player in Crowder.
And affordable player.
Yeah. So, I mean, the only problem now is they're talking about this deal might not go
That's
through.
what I was going to say. There's a wrench in it. Before we get into this massive wrench that's in the trade right now, I agree with Mike, and I disagree with Donnie. Right now, I actually think Isaiah Thomas, pending this physical, if healthy, because when the trade first happened, if healthy, I thought the Cavs were still going to beat the Celtics, to be honest with you, which would have made it a bad trade for the Celtics. I cannot think of a superstar that got... Whenever you trade a superstar, you never get back as much as you should. Right. You always get the worst of trade, like Mike said. I can't think of a superstar trade where they got back so much. They got back Isaiah Thomas, who led the league in scoring. James Crowder's a good defender they need to play defense. Then they got possibly the number one pick. When the Knicks traded for Carmelo Anthony, look at the difference in the trades. Carmelo Anthony was a superstar at the time. We gave up Felton, Gallinari, Wilson Chandler, and Timothy Mozgov. Yeah. None of those players are you probably want Jameson Crowder above all four of those players, let alone Isaiah Thomas and the Nets' number one pick. I think it was an amazing trade for the Celtics. But we just have to get into what the big wrench of the trade is now. Now Isaiah Thomas. So we'll give a little bonus injury report. Isaiah Thomas has impingement of his hip and a labral tear. So what happens is that whether it be there be a malformation of the hip when he was born, or just a malalignment for whatever reasons, the femur and the acetabulum, which connect to make the hip, the femur is banging into the acetabulum and it's rubbing up against it when it shouldn't be. And what happens is that the labrum, that you have the same labrum in your shoulder as your hip, that labrum is now tearing. So I don't know the extent of the tear, they haven't said, but they chose to treat it non-operatively, which is surprising because usually they have to kind of shave off a little bit of the bone. Because when the impingement happens, you start getting like a bone spur, so you have to shave over and they have to repair the labrum. They did not do that. It's been non-operative. So now the Cavs are saying that he's not passing the physical. Yeah. So what do you think about this? I think that right now they're having like a staring contest. Who's going to blink first between the Cavs and the Celtics? The Cavs are demanding more, and the Celtics are kind of saying, no, take the trade for how it is. Yeah. So, Donnie, what do you think is going to happen with this trade now?
Well, if he doesn't actually pass the physical, which you're saying he's not, then it'd have to be a stall, and they have to shop Kyrie around to somebody else.
But I think the Cavs are coming to the table saying, look, we'll take the chance on Isaiah if you sweeten the pot for us.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they're going to sweeten the pot.
You don't? Okay, I'm sorry.
Because of what you said before, which is that they already gave up the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't think they're going to say
no.
Mike?
Well, yeah, especially what they want to sweeten it is they want Tatum, who...
they're not going to do that.
The Celtics, first of all... wanted to give the Brooklyn number one, it could be the number one pick in the draft overall next year. They would rather give that up than give away Tatum. So Tatum is not going to happen.
Agreed.
So they're going to have to either be realistic or this deal is going to die. You know, that's the bottom line.
So Pat, I know you had some strong feelings.
I got some strong feelings. Essentially, we're talking about the Warriors here. We're not even talking about the Cavs and Celtics at this point.
Yeah, for once we like to not talk about it. We always talk about
but
the Warriors.
It's who can beat the Warriors, and Boston's not going to the finals. Other team has LeBron James. They're not going to make it. And now, when LeBron makes the finals against the Warriors, Jay Crowder is the key because LeBron James doesn't have to guard 6 different players. The Warriors have 4 or 5 guys they can put on LeBron James. Livingston, Iguodala, Durant, Draymond Green. It's like he has no help. He doesn't have that body, that other 6'6", 6'7", 240 guy to cover Kevin Durant. He could take a break for a second. And you guys forget they got Derrick Rose also. So the Derrick Rose with Isaiah Thomas, I don't really think they lost much. They're a similar player. And just a quick stat, I'm assuming this is a record of something. 2011, first pick of the draft was Kyrie Irving. The last pick of the draft was Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, I read that.
Which is weird. There's no way that could have happened before.
First pick was traded for the last pick. But I agree with Pat completely. I think the Cavs with Thomas and Crowder might actually be better than the Cavs with Irving for facing the Warriors. Crowder's that good. Crowder gives him flexibility too because he's a cheap contract for I think 3 years he's under contract for. And watch this guy Anton Zizic be awesome.
He's an 80 in NBA 2K. Crowder, you got to. That's the Bible. and defensively, he's up there.
Sorry. I mean, listen. I look at the Celtics and I don't even know how they were so good last year. You know, this is because then I look at them and. You know, they had Isaiah Thomas, who I think we could, at least in my opinion, I don't know if he could repeat what he did last year. But They went out and they got Hayward. How did this team win so many games? That's just what I'm trying to wonder last year.
Well, they actually got rid of
a lot of bit play. I mean, Al Horford's a nice player, but
balanced. Yeah,
Isaiah Thomas played. Well, you think he played over his expectations, which I believe he did play a little bit over it. But I think that was the big thing that made them so great. And you had role players that contribute, but they got rid of 11. They only have 4 people from last year's team. Actually, the Celtics.
Yeah, you win so many games, then you get rid of your whole team.
They're ridiculous. I think Horford, Smart was left, and I forgot the other 2 guys because I don't think they were substantial guys. Right. So they've completely changed their team. I think the Celtics will cave a little bit. Not on Tatum. They're not going to cave on Tatum. I think they will cave on a pick. I don't know if it'll be a high pick. I think they're going to cave on something because now you're talking about maybe Isaiah is hurt enough to the point that he needs surgery. You're not going to want it. If you definitely don't have Isaiah Thomas or Kyrie Irving, you're definitely not going to beat the Cavs. I'm sorry. So I think they're going to cave a little bit to give up. I think the Cavs might be able to, the staring contest, they might be able to win it.
So you think that they get the Celtics' own first-round pick?
I don't know if it's a first round, maybe like a second
that'd
round.
Be a later
maybe
pick.
A first,
anyway,
I know. I don't know if that's maybe a first round. Maybe a first round next. Maybe a first round, not 2018, but maybe a first round of 2019. So it's not both from the same draft. I think they're going to get something from it, and then the Cavs will do the trade.
Dude, I'm just sad that a guy finally came out, a really good player came out and said he would actually accept the trade to the Knicks. And it's like, first of all, I have no idea why. Other than he's from Jersey,
City,
right?
Yeah.
Kyrie's from Jersey.
He's from Jersey, City, so I guess maybe he grew. I'm not even positive that he grew up as a Knicks fan.
Maybe he
was a huge Nets fan, like Donnie or something.
Then he talked to his agent, and then that was the end of that.
But I mean, they were probably like, well, "What are you talking about? You don't want to do this." But I mean, the Knicks, they have nothing. It's just. They have nothing to get a deal like that done, and that's why I just got my hopes up again.
So upset that we're bringing up the Nets. What about the Knicks with their constant stalling with this Melo to the Rockets trade?
They're going to end up getting like a ham sandwich for Carmelo's sandwich.
Well, who's there?
They gave Melo all the power. Melo just says, I'm not going anywhere except the Rockets. Damian Lillard is trying to call him. Come on, man. Come to the Trailblazers. No.
A good team also. Yeah, no.
How are you allowed to do this? How can you just decide?
Because you're a Knick player, and the Knicks messed up and gave him everything.
I'm just saying any player in the NBA or any player in any kind of job shouldn't be able to just say that, that demand the terms like this. I mean, he's just basically saying, you're going to trade me to this team. I don't care what you get back. It puts them in such a horrible position that it actually crushes their franchise.
They
played with him a lot, though, before this happened.
It's true. It's the Knicks' fault. They should. There are 3 players in the NBA that have a no-trade clause. LeBron James, Dirk Nowitzki, and Carmelo Anthony. Why don't no one else has a no-trade clause? It's the Knicks' fault. Dirk Nowitzki because he's been there for 20 years. LeBron James because he can do whatever he wants.
Best player,
And then Carmelo Anthony, I don't know.
You got the GM of the team tweeting out, talking smack about him.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a Melo fan in any way, shape, or form, but what's he supposed to do?
Yeah.
No, I don't like him in the least, but they destroyed him over the last 2 years. His morale was shot.
So Donnie actually thinks the Celtics got the better trade. So
No, I think that they're the better team if this all goes into effect.
So then
I think that the trade overall,
was
because of the pick, I mean, if the Nets are as bad as we all think they're going to be, the pick could be crucial. I mean, next year's draft, we could look at next year's draft class. We'll have to see from that. But, the Cavs could absolutely get the better of this by far.
So let me ask last point on this then. Donnie, you already said you don't think this trade's going to go through. Mike, do you think this trade ultimately goes through?
I think it's going to go. I think it's going to go through. I think somebody will get thrown in. It's not going to be Tatum or one of those guys, but somebody will get thrown in, sweeten the pot a little bit, which will make the deal even better for the Cavs.
Pat,
I think it's absolutely going to go through. Okay. I think they knew about his hip before this deal.
And they're just using it as leverage.
Yeah, and now they're saying, they're going to look at Kyrie. It's just
I agree, Donnie. You're on your own again.
Fair enough.
Be on that island with the White Walkers surrounding you.
Hey, the Night King's the greatest, man.
You love the Night King.
My boy.
But, great show, guys. Thanks. Pat came in. You did great. We had a good time there. Donnie, as always. Mike, as always. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I want to remind everyone that we have a couple new shows out there. The little kind of Bridgeside Sports Live, little spin-offs. We have a Bridgeside Sports Pick'em with Donnie and Boo. Thursday nights, and then we also have Bridgeside Sports Fantasy Rundown with the one and only analyst
and
his yin yang.
What's good?
He's creating his own graphics. The man is out of control. But we love you. We love you. We need you back.
And we can't wait to Chris and Win both come back. Enjoy your vacation, guys. But
I think the crowd enjoyed them a break from that. To be honest,
maybe they did.
just gonna speak for everybody.
But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining in. Hope to see you next week on Bridgeside Sports Lives. Have a good night, everybody.
Yep.